I need to talk to somebody else. I just need time to think about this. Do they sound familiar? If they do, and you don't know what closing techniques are, this could really help you. Your ability to ask for the sale has more impact on your life, your confidence, your outward appearance than any other aspect of your life. Hi guys, thanks for coming to my channel. This is where we're going to be looking at audiobooks and how we can improve what we can do and what we can learn from some of the best audiobooks in the world. And I want to let you in on a little secret. If you're not a fast reader, I'm not either. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be conquering that with audiobooks. We can listen to the audiobooks. I'll show you how. And if you have any questions, let me know. So let's get into this. I look forward to going on this journey with you.
Wow.
He says, the good news is all sales and closing skills are learnable. Brilliant. At one time, the most effective salespeople and the best closers couldn't close anything because all these skills are learnable, which is great news. He says, the more closing techniques you know, the more likely you are to close the sale, get agreement, make more money, be more successful. People become great salespeople by learning and practicing. Nothing is innate, including how to close the sale. And if you do what they did, you'll be successful and there's nothing that can stop you. So let's begin. Let's dive into what these are. So he starts off by saying that there are two things that you need to do before you close the sale. He calls this Murphy's Law. He says that it is something that you have to do before you do the thing that you want to do. It's the antecedent, the thing that comes before asking for that sale. The first requirement is to be enthusiastic. Now, he says this doesn't mean bouncing around, fast talking, or other kinds of enthusiasm. He says this is like boiled enthusiasm with a lid on it, like a kettle that's boiling. It keeps that pressure. You need to have the enthusiasm within yourself. Have the belief, and it will come true. Closing is a transfer of enthusiasm from you with the enthusiasm to the other person, and you need to close it to make that exchange. And when you do that, a sale will take place. This means that you have to know your product, believe in your product, and have confidence in your product or yourself. He says without this deep belief in what you sell, you'll never be able to reach that level of enthusiasm that you need to make the close and get that transfer. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, nothing great was ever accomplished without enthusiasm. He said the second quality that you need is confident expectation. You must confidently expect that people will say yes if you just ask them confidently and clearly. For example, you ask, would you like the red one or the green one today? You're asking confidently, expecting that they will already buy. Would you like the green one or the red one today? Do you want the large or the small? Is this the right size for you? So he says, you don't ask, are you going to take one? You say, would you like the green one or the blue one? Would you like the large or the small? He says, the more confident you are, the more likely you will make a sale. And confidence comes from knowledge. Without knowledge, you can't have the confidence. So you need to know what you sell, have faith, believe in it, love it, and then you can make that transfer and convince other people to say yes. Now, he says, before you close, you need to qualify the prospect. Make sure they're the right person. Do they want what you're selling? Are they the correct person that you should be speaking to? He says you can't close somebody that isn't the right person. Then he gives an example of how when you're in a shop and someone comes over and says, would you like to buy it? And you're not even in the market. So that salesperson needs to qualify you as somebody that is likely to say yes. Or someone comes up to you and says, why don't you take it? And you've just wandered onto the car lot of a used car site without even asking you what you want or what you like or what you value or what you need. To qualify effectively, you need to answer these 3 points. Number 1, does the prospect need what you're selling? Number 2, can the prospect use what you're selling? Many people might need, a certain thing, but if they can't use it, it's going to be no good for them. Number 3, can the person afford the product? And number 4, does the person want the product? He says that desire comes before anything. Once you've understood these, Brian Tracy says you can start to close because you've now qualified the prospect. He says desire comes before closing. The person needs to tell you that they desire the benefits that the product will bring. Once you've given your presentation, qualified the prospect in all 4 of these areas, You are now in a position to begin closing. Most of the sale is actually made during the presentation. It's made in how you present the proposal, how you talk about it, what the little agreements that you get throughout the sale. He says you shouldn't do the presentation, wait till the end, and then expectantly, when your heart's racing and you can't, think clearly, you say, "So, do you want to buy it?" That's not the way to close. You're putting too much emphasis on the end. You can do things throughout that will get you there, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. He says the moment of closing is always difficult. There's a moment of tension between you and the prospect. They don't want to make a wrong decision, so they say something like, "Let me think about it. I just need some time. Let me talk to that person." They give excuses because of the stress. Number one, they don't want to make the wrong decision. They don't want to, be forced into a decision, and they're worried. It feels like a pain, and they want to avoid that pain, so they just don't want to deal with it right now. He says that this is a form of buyer's remorse in advance. He says whenever there's a point where the person needs to make a decision, where they need to spend money, tension wells up inside of them, and it feels like a spear being thrust into their gut, so they move back, away from it. And these closing techniques can help you understand what is the reason for that and help you ask for the sale anyway. This is the fear of failure. They say things like, "Can you send me more information? Let me think it over. I need to talk to somebody else. I just need time to think about this." Do they sound familiar? If they do, and you don't know what closing techniques are, this could really help you. These are all ways that the prospect is communicating to you that they think if they make this decision now, it won't be the right thing for them. He said the second major stumbling block in the close is the fear of rejection. It's the fear of the prospect saying no. He says that each of us have a fear deep down inside of somebody saying no to us. The fear of rejection. He says because of this, we organise our lives in such a way that we avoid people that will say no to us. Then he says that if you've got a problem with the word no, you've chosen a very interesting profession because 4 out of 5 sales calls all end up with a no. He says when you hear prospects say, "No, I don't think so," or "This isn't right for me," you need to be able to let that wash off your back like water off a duck's back and carry on to close. Rejection is not personal. You need to take the personal out of it. Stop thinking that the reason you've been rejected is because of you. It might be something completely outside of your control, and these techniques will help you find out what they are, and then you can hopefully handle them. When a person says no, they're not saying no to you, they're saying no to your offering, what you're offering. And these could be for a series of reasons. Quite a lot of them you can't do anything about. He says, your job is to do the thing you fear and ask for the order regardless. You need to expect sales resistance because everybody has been trained to say no. People are more comfortable saying no than they are saying yes. So you need to expect that, understand that's what people will say, and then use these techniques to help you close that sale. Your job is to get through that tension as quickly and painlessly as humanly possible. There will be tension, that's fine. But your job is to get through that tension as quickly as possible. And that is what closing techniques are for. These are not ways to manipulate other people. They're not ways to, coerce people. They're not ways to get people to buy things that they don't want, don't need, can't use, and can't afford. These are techniques to help people get past that moment of tension. The professional salesperson takes the prospect smoothly past the point of tension, allowing the sale to take place, making it easy for the prospect to buy. He says the unprofessional salesperson sits there wishing and hoping. And at the end of the presentation, he sits there and says something like, what do you think? Well, what do you think? And then the prospect says, after all the tension's built up, he says, I think I'd like to think it over. He says, even if they want it, the tension is too great. And this is why you must know how to ask a closing question. He says the tension on the part of the prospect is why you need to know how to close and how to close well. And that's why you must know a series of closing techniques. Thanks for watching my series on closing the sale. If you're in sales, if you're not in sales, and you just want to get what you want more often, keep following every day because I'll be doing new closing techniques with new takes and new insights on how you can get more of what you want. Look forward to seeing you soon.